time is taking. Our future is in our hand, and what we are doing today is to make sure we protect the life of our women and children. So my fellow Biafrans, in the coming weeks, I want everybody to pay attention to the updates that will be coming from our handles. The delegitimization of Nigeria within our land is taken to the next level. And there's going to be enforcement. And remember, if we do not destroy Nigeria today, Nigeria will destroy us. If we do not end the terrorist state of Nigeria, the terrorist state of Nigeria will end us. We cannot see and sit and watch a state that kills its own citizens, that have no regard to human dignity and have no regard to women and children. That kind of state is not a state anybody can support. We've seen the massacre of Biafrans, massacre of Christians, massacre of many indigenous nationalities in other parts of Nigeria. They are as human as us. They have nobody to speak for them. They have no government in exile like you do. They have no Mazi Nnamdi Kanu like you do. They have no Simon Ekpa like you do. They have no cabinet members in the government in exile. They have no de facto government in the homeland. Nobody speaks for them. Nobody fights for them. They have no liberation army. They have no resistance fighters. They have nobody to defend them. And these people are getting killed every day. We need to make Nigeria very, very uncomfortable. And believe me, the more Biafra fight Nigeria, the more we save life in other parts of the country. Especially the life of those Christians who have nobody to speak for them. We are going to draw these people to our land and neutralize them. Like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, that's exactly what we're going to do. So I want every Biafran to understand that during this 1 month lockdown of the Nigeria terrorist state institution in Biafra land, our businesses will be flourishing. People will go to work. Those that are Biafrans, if you are a business person in Biafra land, you will go to your shop, go to your market, nobody will disturb you. We will make sure that your market will be protected. We'll make sure that nobody will attack you in the market. We'll make sure that when the terrorist army and police come, we will be in the street. The first time the Biafra forces will be on the street. This is going to be this 1 month that is coming. So,
Simon Ekpa has come to say that there's a 30-day lockdown in the southeast, and the Biafra Defense Forces will be on the streets in the southeast while people do their business as they confront the Nigerian army. I think these are interesting times that it's going to be very difficult for the southeasterner to find himself stabilized, especially the southeast. The protest that they said that the southeast stayed at home. One of the reasons why they stayed at home is because of the fear that was put on them. When we talk about unknown gunmen, my personal opinion about unknown gunmen, I believe the politicians in the southeast are very, very responsible for anything that has to do with unknown gunmen. I'm pointing my fingers to the governor of Imo State. When the governors of the eastern region, the Ohanese, came out to say that the Igbos are not part, Igbo youths are not part of the protest, End Bad Governance protest, they had to do something. After they made that broadcast, a few days, or let me say 72 hours to the protest, we saw killings in the southeast. These unknown gunmen were activated to go on the streets to kill and make sure people stay at home. You heard that traditional rulers were beheaded. You heard that people were killed. A POS lady was killed. When you connect the dots, you know that this is a government-sponsored unknown gunman. When the government made a pronouncement that Igbo youths are not part of the protest, and they know the region, they are strong-headed. So the next thing we now saw that unknown gunmen flooded the streets of Imo State and other states in the region, and there was a killing spree. This put fear in the hearts of some of the Easterners that wanted to come out and protest, and they stayed back home. So the unknown, the restiveness in the southeast, the insecurity in the southeast is being sponsored by some southeast elements, especially politicians in the southeast. You see Senator Andy Uba, Senator Uba, who died, he had a security outfit, And that security outfit that belongs to Andy Uba is being accused of various kidnappings and crimes in the southeast. Even some transport companies, they allege that some transport companies in the southeast connive with bandits, kidnappers, Fulani, whatever, in the bushes to kidnap their passengers. This is the reality in the southeast. And what is the government doing about security in the southeast? We know that we have most of our men that are not professionals. When you are going or traveling to the southeast, the high percentage, to get harassed in the southeast, the percentage is on Nigerian police officials or the Nigerian army. There is high tension. When you see an army in the southeast or a police or a checkpoint, and especially if that place is deserted, you'll be afraid because the possibility of you being harassed, kidnapped, or whatever, killed is coming from the Nigerian security officials, especially in the southeast. An influential person, a crypto, there's a guy that does crypto. He recently traveled to the southeast and he met people who were supposed to be security officials who did covered their face at a checkpoint, and according to his story, they threatened to kill him. They threatened to unalive him. All sort of threats. I've had an encounter with a police person, and all what I got from this police person is that what the police person was screaming to me, all the thing that I got from him is that give me money, give me money. If you don't give me money, I will harass you, I can arrest you, give me money. Irrespective of the fact that whether your papers are correct or whatever, or whether you are just a simple person moving on, there's a tendency that you'll be harassed by security officials in the southeast. So what is government doing about insecurity? Ever since that we had deployments upon deployment upon deployment of these guys in the southeast, there has never been a day where we will not find unrest. There was a reverend father that was kidnapped, and the reverend father made mention of the fact that he was kidnapped by Fulanis in Enugu. I think it's Enugu or Abia. What has the government done about this? Look at the recent protests that happened in the north. Some people were carrying flags, Russian flags, facing the military, not even police, military. The military was like calming them down. People are carrying a Russian flag, a treasonable offense, as alleged by some people, a Russian flag, because Nigerians can interpret anything they want to interpret. If the governments want to interpret anything they want to interpret to nail you, they will do so because they are the ones that the judiciary, legislature, they are the ones that the police, SARS, and all have here, EFCC. So, according to the interpretation of the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, you see people carrying flags in that situation of protest. He said it was treason, but the army did not do anything. But bring it to the southeast and see what's happening in the southeast. You see that when Donald Trump won the election, in the southeast, they were rejoicing with Israeli flags, and that moment that they did that celebration, the army gunned down people just celebrating the win of Donald Trump with Israeli and United States flag. They celebrated the win of Donald Trump. People died that day. That is just celebrating, not protest though. They don't talk of you bringing out Russian flags after there are allegations that there are people that want to use this protest for their own gains to destabilize the country. Some people are bringing out Russian flags and you are watching them in the northern Nigeria. Nothing. You didn't do anything. You are just appeasing them. What message does that give an average Southeasterner that have lost so much blood from the security officials because of little things that if it is happening in other regions, nothing will happen, but just little thing that happens in the southeast, the trigger will just be pulled on a Southeasterner. Now, the life of a Southeasterner seems to not be valuable in the eyes of other Nigerians. What is the president doing about the insecurity in the Southeast region? Or is it that is a kind of politics that they are playing to keep the Southeast not to be stabilized, so as to control the narrative of him getting to power the second time? Because what I believe, the sit at home that you see that happened during the protests was carefully planned and carried out by politicians in the Southeast. Because before the sit at home, there were killings. It was not a Monday sit at home. If you are going to say that non-state actors like IPOB, Ekpa, and the rest were enforcing a sit at home, it was a sit at home enforced by unknown gunmen, not for the reason of a Biafra struggle or liberation, but for the reason, obvious reason of protest. Stay at home, don't come out to protest. They unleashed unknown gunmen in the Southeast. So what is the presidency, what is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces doing about that? Young men cannot travel to the Southeast because they will be harassed. There is high percentage that they will be harassed by Nigerian government officials, security officials, not armed robbers. This guy who was recently harassed by hooded-looking policemen or whatever they are, SARS or whatever they are, at the checkpoint in the Southeast, he said that he's not afraid of armed robbers. He's not afraid of kidnappers, but he's afraid of the Nigerian police. I repeat myself, I've had an encounter with the Nigerian police. He felt like if he had the opportunity, he should just take my life and take everything that belongs to me. That is what he felt if he had the opportunity. That is the vibe this Nigerian police was giving to me. That was the vibe I was getting from Nigerian police. Not to talk of when you go to places in the Southeast whereby there are some remote areas and you see this police having checkpoints and you are getting close to them. In Nigeria, especially, let's look at places in Lagos, Third Mainland Bridge. We are coming into the urban area, Third Mainland Bridge, and you see police checkpoints. There had been videos of where police were harassing people at the middle of the night because it was the middle of the night. They are being harassed by the police. So what this 30-day lockdown, I don't know how Ohanese and how the governors, the politicians in the Southeast will come out and look at this 30-day lockdown, because as we speak, insecurity in the Southeast is being shared by politicians and by non-state actors. Those that make sure that they control the Southeast, non-state actors are also pulling a string in the Southeast. And for the greater aspect of it, there's a plan to put the Southeast down and underdeveloped. There shouldn't be any cohesion, no unity of purpose, no development in the Southeast. How do we get stabilized when we have a 30-day lockdown in the Southeast? What is the assurance that whatever that is being done there will not put fear in the hearts of the people to come out to their daily business? What is the government doing about it? I preach for regionalism. Let's get this regionalism, let's kick it off. Let's start this regionalism. Emeka Anyaoku and the rest, Ize Yamu, are coming out for constitutional review. Let's start this regionalism. They have been plead to the federal government to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because without his release, you see more of these things. We don't know who is who. We don't know who is actually really fighting for this Biafra struggle. But all we see is that there are people that are sabotaging the true agitation for a sovereign state of Biafra. We see that there are sabotages here and there. And you see, the conversation will still continue. And it's going to be a trying time this Christmas, this year 2024. There are many things that are going to happen. Many things that are going to happen. Let's see how it pans and it goes on, and let's see how the government tackles this. But there's something in my mind that is telling me that there's a deliberate effort by some powers that be to keep the Southeast down, to keep the Southeast, to keep on, to stir up the fire of unrest in the Southeast, to make sure that the Southeast is not stable, to find its feet, to be able to compete at this point in time. There is something happening. But at the end of the day, whatever that is in darkness will be exposed by the light very, very soon. The government knows what they can do to restore sanity in the Southeast. Release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He has said that when he comes out, there will be stability. Within 2 minutes, there won't be any sort of whatever in the Southeast. There will be stability when he comes out. That is not too much to ask. Elders, senators, rep members have come out to demand that he is being released. But instead, I am looking at a fact whereby Nnamdi Kanu is being used to leverage for Tinubu's 2027 presidential ambition. That is my perspective. Before somebody comes online and starts saying one or two things, my perspective. Because if the North tries to misbehave, because the North are trying to threaten him with a one-term president, there's Nnamdi Kanu that is standby. The North hates anything that is going to divide Nigeria. Let's say the northern politicians, those that are saying Araba are Russian, they are doing so because of their interest is being threatened under Tinubu's administration, not because of they really want a divided Nigeria. A united Nigeria will always benefit the oligarchs, the wicked politicians in the north. They don't think in their lifetime. You see what Shettima has said. My foot, restructuring my foot, Shettima. So that is the average mentality of a northern politician in the north. So if the north wants to go haywire, if the north wants to change them for Tinubu will change them for them by releasing Nnamdi Kanu, and probably he may be giving instructions to, yes, let us go our separate ways. So I believe that Nnamdi Kanu is a card the president Tinubu is using to make sure that he secures his 8 years. I believe politicians, they can do anything. They can, however possible, they can use any possible means to put themselves in power. If it is to make sure that there is unrest in a particular region, for them to have their way. Because left for the Southeasterners, they don't believe that they are part of Nigeria. Left for them, they are just looking for a button that will just be pressed. Bam, Biafra here will come. They are already standby. So the Southwest is using that to leverage on whatever, because this politics you are looking at, it's a game. Wherever you bring it from, it's ready. Okay, you tried with the protest. We make sure that in the South, the protest is not there. So we are sending a statement. Yes, you tried with alliances. We make sure that we keep your parties divided. We keep your parties, PDP or Labour Party. We make sure that we have our people there that will divide. Look at what is happening. Makinde is coming out. Bola Mohammed is coming out. Different people are coming out under the PDP. It is going to challenge the candidacy of Atiku Abubakar. So the games is being played. Monies are just flying here and there. People are just getting updates, getting activated to do one or two things. But if it comes for not saying that yes, let's do this one. Let's remove him by Nnamdi Kanu will be released. And when he's released, everybody will start looking for how they can go their separate ways. But they will not want to release Nnamdi Kanu now for different reasons. And one of the reasons would be that the Southeast governors will lose their, I don't know whether it is powers or whether their authority on the people, or whether they are, because Nnamdi Kanu comes out to say one word in the Southeast as a free man. He says one word, at least for the first 1 year. If he says something, you see, the people are ready to defy any act of government to follow Nnamdi Kanu. So maybe they are afraid also that if he comes out, those that have been using the Biafra whatever IPOB to perpetrate evil will be exposed, because I believe the hand of the government is there. No, the hand of anything in security, the government has a hand. It was, like I repeat, it was this protest that made me notice that the government has a hand. When we talk about unknown gunmen is a term used to just deceive the people. The government has a hand, especially Southeast politicians. They must know what is happening. They must know. There are instances whereby you get kidnapped by people in uniform. You don't know who is who or who is not who. You don't know. And yet the government will not do anything to arrest those people. They know a certain spot whereby we have criminals that are there that carries all kind of criminality, but the government will just turn a blind eye. For the fact that the government turns a blind eye shows that the government has a hand in what is happening. Save Southeast. One of the most enterprising people in the world. Save Southeast from impending danger and destruction. That is my plea this morning. Save Southeast, those that are responsible in their lifetime to protect the heritage, the dignity, the culture. The people of the Southeast should come out and save Southeast from injustice, Southeast from unnecessary, unwanted killing by security officials, unknown government, and Fulani and whoever. Save Southeast. This is a call this morning. Save Southeast.